This should have completely ended her career overnight. And yet, somehow, she's still posting like nothing even happened. That's exactly why people cannot look away from this situation right now. Because we are watching something that doesn't make sense in real time. You have a restraining order, serious allegations, leaked messages that are honestly hard to read through. And instead of disappearing, instead of going silent, instead of letting things cool down, Huda is doing the exact opposite. She's in the gym, she's posting brand deals, she's teasing music like she's in the middle of a comeback rollout and not at the center of one of the most intense controversies she's ever faced. And the more you watch it, the more confusing it gets. Because the real story here might not even be what happened behind closed doors. It might be how she's choosing to handle it out in the open. Now, let's rewind for a second. Because to understand why this is hitting the way it is, you have to understand how fast this escalated. What started as what people assumed was just another messy reality TV relationship situation suddenly turned into something much bigger when reports came out that Louis' ex had filed for a temporary restraining order against Huda. And not only filed, but actually had it granted. Immediately, the tone of the conversation online shifted. Because once legal action enters the picture, everything changes. This isn't just gossip anymore. This becomes serious, and people start paying attention in a very different way. According to reports, the situation allegedly involved an incident late at night where things escalated after hours of messages. And again, these are allegations, but the details that started circulating were intense enough that the internet didn't hesitate to run with them. People started asking, how does something go from relationship drama to legal protection this quickly? What exactly happened in those hours leading up to it? And why did it reach a point where a judge felt like a restraining order was necessary? Those questions are still hanging in the air, because even now, there are two completely different sides to this story, and both are being pushed at the same time.
Hello?
Whoa, hey.
Yo, I turned that shit off.
Hey.
Yo, what the fuck did they say? They said about...
But here's where things take a turn that nobody expected. Usually, when a situation like this breaks, the person at the center of it disappears. They go quiet. Their team steps in. Statements get crafted carefully. Posts get deleted. Everything slows down, and the goal becomes minimizing attention. But that is not what happened here at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite, and that's the part that's making people look twice. Instead of silence, Huda stayed visible, almost immediately.
It's already sounding amazing. I agree. You got it. Oh, I didn't even let it boil.
And not just visible, casually posting, but fully active, like nothing had changed. Gym clips, brand collaborations, music studio sessions. And it doesn't feel accidental, it feels intentional. If you've been watching influencer culture for a while, you already know why. There is a very specific strategy behind this kind of response, and it's one that can either work extremely well or completely backfire, depending on how it's executed. The idea is simple. If you act like everything is normal, people will eventually start to question whether it's really as serious as it sounds. You control the tone by refusing to match the chaos. In some cases, that works. It makes the situation feel smaller. It shifts focus. It allows your audience to move on faster. But the problem is that only works when the audience is willing to follow your lead. And right now, that is not what's happening. Because instead of calming things down, her posts are actually making people more curious. They're asking, why is she acting like this isn't happening? Why is there no acknowledgement beyond a brief denial? Why does it feel like she's trying to push forward instead of address what's being said? And when those questions start stacking up, the strategy starts to feel less like confidence and more like avoidance, depending on who you ask. And then you add Louis into the situation, and everything becomes even more complicated. His reaction might be one of the most confusing parts of this entire story. Right in the middle of everything blowing up, while people are trying to figure out what's true and what isn't, he posts her publicly, calling her his queen. That one move alone changed the way people started looking at this, because now the narrative splits even further. On one side, you have people saying, if he's standing by her like this, maybe there's more to the story that hasn't come out yet. Maybe things aren't as one-sided as they seem. And on the other side, you have people saying, this makes no sense. If the situation is as serious as it's being described, Why would he be posting like that? Why does it feel like the online image doesn't match the reported reality? When those two things don't align, that's when speculation really takes off. Because now it's not just about what happened, it's about what we're being shown versus what we're being told. The gap between those two things is where the internet lives. That's where theories form. That's where people start connecting dots that may or may not even be there. And once that starts, it's almost impossible to control. Then the alleged messages start circulating, and this is where things shift again. Now people feel like they're seeing behind the scenes. They're reading conversations, analyzing tone, trying to piece together a timeline. Even though none of this is officially confirmed in a courtroom yet, it doesn't matter. In the world of social media, perception moves faster than facts ever could. Once people feel like they've seen enough to form an opinion, they lock into it. What's interesting here is that the conversation isn't just about the content of those messages. It's about what they represent to different people. Some see them as proof that things escalated in a serious way. Others see them as a one-sided snapshot that doesn't tell the full story. That divide is exactly what keeps situations like this trending, because there's no clear resolution. Everyone is watching the same thing, but walking away with completely different conclusions. Meanwhile, Huda is still posting, still active, still moving forward.
You ain't no good for me. I ain't no good for you. Something just stays me. Baby, I'm good to do. Don't you say that you're sick.
That creates this strange tension where the situation feels unresolved, but the content keeps coming. Every new post becomes part of the story, whether she intends it to or not. People aren't just watching for updates, they're watching her behavior. They're analyzing what she posts, how she looks, what she says, what she doesn't say. All of that becomes part of the narrative. And this is where the bigger conversation starts. This isn't just about one situation anymore. This is about how public figures handle controversy in an era where everything is instant, everything is visible, and everything is judged in real time. There used to be space between the incident and the response, but now those things happen at the same time. The way you respond becomes just as important as what actually happened. Think about it. Going quiet can look like accountability, or it can look like guilt. Staying active can look like confidence, or it can look like denial. There's no universal right move. It all depends on how the audience interprets it. Right now, the audience is split, which means the outcome of this isn't just going to depend on what's true. It's going to depend on which narrative sticks. And that's the real risk here. Once a narrative takes hold online, it becomes very hard to change. Even if new information comes out later, even if things get clarified, even if the full story looks different, the first impression tends to last. The way this is unfolding in real time means that impression is still being formed right now. So every decision, every post, every statement, every silence, it all matters. It's shaping how people are going to remember this situation long after it's over. Whether this strategy of staying visible and pushing forward is going to protect her brand or end up damaging it even more is something we're literally watching play out day by day. Because at the end of all of this, the biggest question isn't just what happened behind the scenes. It's whether handling it like this is actually helping or making things worse. And that's something no one can answer yet, because the story is still unfolding in real time. So now, I want to know what you think. When you look at everything, the situation, the reactions, the posts, the way it's being handled, do you think this is a smart way to take control of the narrative? Or does it feel like a strategy that could completely backfire? Let me know in the comments.